guys, welcome to Clockwork Noodles for another breakdown of The Ancient Magus Bride, Core 2, Season 2, Episode number 4. Welcome back to the channel, guys, and I really enjoyed this week's episode because it was so thematic. Halloween is literally just around the corner, and it felt like this was the perfect episode to air around this time. Did they do that on purpose? It does sometimes make me wonder if they have an anime airing, say, by Christmas, do they know that they've got a Christmas episode and it's going to line up? But thank you guys so much for tuning back in. Welcome back to this channel, and hello if you are new. I am Clockwork Noodles. I break down anime every single week. It feels like we're doing it almost daily, but it's because we've had a lot of videos go up this week. I've got all of the videos now airing, so thank you guys so much for your continued support. Subscribe. We have got 2 more weeks now before the midway goes up. It's going to be a very interesting midway. I can't wait to actually put my thoughts into words and into some rankings to show you guys how I'm feeling about the full season as a whole, what my favourite songs, OPs, EDs are, and what my current standing animes are, because I think it's going to be an interesting one to show you my thoughts. The question for today is going to be a fun one because Halloween is coming up. Is there a particular ghost, folklore, spooky story or something that you really like to hear around this time of the year? Something spooky from maybe your neck of the woods. Around me, if I was to make it localized, we've got a place, I'm not going to dox myself, but there is a place nearby, Dead Man's Cross. A lot of people around me will go there for tests of courage, quite similar to what we're seeing in the episode. It's supposed to be the fact that a witch was buried at the crossroads, because in the UK, you bury a witch at a crossroads so she doesn't get angry that you killed her and she comes back to haunt the town. That was the initial view. People were very superstitious in the UK. People say that witches are buried. Don't know how true this is. Not been a lot of people who excavate around these places. Nobody knows if there's actually a witch buried at Dead Man's Cross, but people just presume there is. Lots of teenagers will sometimes go over there, test the courage, go at midnight, do the whole spooky thing. That's something cool near me. Maybe you guys also have something from your local hometown, something local from your country, a spooky story or a spooky place. Really hope that you guys have something fun to show me. Let's jump straight into the breakdown, going straight into a test of courage, which is the perfect episode for Halloween. Happy spooky times, guys. Zoe totally likes Lucy, but I don't think it's the same back. Not a mutual feeling, because she does feel very comfortable talking to them, and she does actually say, I'm glad that I'm with somebody that I can talk to. I just think she enjoys being around them and she feels comfortable being around them. Nice, because I think this week we do get to look at a lot of backstories, how these families are intertwined. I did also think that with them all pulling a bit of paper to work out what team they were on, devalued, as at the end it does seem a lot of people swap teams. So if you're just going to allow people to swap teams, you may as well just let people choose in the first place. But I did think a few of the teams chosen maybe a bit more, not so much by chance. Having a few people together like Philomela and Isaac felt like it needed to happen for the plot, more so than it being a thing by chance. Because could you imagine if, say, Philomela and Chisei were together? You wouldn't really get the information that you need with Veronica. Section with Veronica, also why I still do think she is bad, but I know this week we've got a bit more information going on. They wanted MC with Baddie, so we had the two together. That's why they had to be there together. It was interesting though. So the conversation this time around focuses in on a lot of the family obligations. Quite quickly the conversation turns to Philomela. There's a lot of moments where I'm not happy or I'm just nervous about some of the body language that Veronica's given off. I'm not keen on it. Veronica says that the kids are tied down by bloodlines. A lot of them have their own cage, expectations upon them. They're all from these very well-known families. You get that from the OP in the entire show, that everybody's got a role to play. There's also a lot of symbology and iconology to the idea of cages. That's all in the OP. That's why the OP is really clever. I still believe that you can be bound by obligation. Let's say you have to have this role to play, but you can still know when something is wrong. You can still show some displeasure. With Veronica, you don't really get any of that. I know about this already. What can I do kind of thing. She doesn't really bat an eyelid. There's no really emotion there. I get it, you can't really tell your family not to do something, but you can still feel something, or you can still have an emotion. Laughs a lot more than I'd rather hope she would have in this situation. I did, however, like the bit where Veronica actually puts Grandma in her place, because I don't like Grandma. I think she's horrible, a piece of work. But I was very happy to see Veronica telling her, this is how it's going to be. I'm not actually asking you, by the way. It's an order. She definitely happily uses her powers. She's very happy to use her station to get what she wants. I know that she's picking Philomela because she's a woman and she's better to talk to. It also feels a bit sad because she's still picking her. You're going to test some poisons for me. You're going to be my servant. It's not a nice situation, and it's difficult because we're dealing with families. We're dealing with people who don't really have a say on the way that they can behave, but it does still feel sad because you pick somebody who's been through a lot. She does admire her for surviving, but you're still putting her back into hell. I don't know. It's just a really difficult situation to really feel a great deal on. I just don't like Veronica. I don't like people who touch other people without really asking. The bit where she puts the finger under Chise's chin, I didn't like it. My skin was crawling. I've got goose pimples. You can see that she's also not really averse to using her powers. She's fine with doing it. I'm ordering you, by the way. You don't get a say in this. She doesn't really care if she doesn't want to or not. Philomela really just getting pushed around by everybody. That also includes Veronica. Veronica could have picked somebody else and they would have been submitted to the same thing, but Philomela really just didn't want to be there. The interesting thing from this conversation I got, Philomela tells us that she can't remember her parents' fates. Now, a few of us have been theorising what might have happened. At one point, I thought she was a werewolf. This is weird. I know I said I went back on the idea and I didn't think she was a werewolf. I've got something else maybe up my sleeve now. Philomela says that she doesn't remember her parents' fate. She was just told that they died. There's no body. There's no death confirmed in my eyes. In any anime show, if you're told a character dies off screen, they can come back. At some point, they can come back. There's no body. You haven't seen it. It's not 100% guaranteed. I also want to link that now with what I saw at the end of the episode with the glitching when we saw the werewolf seeing her kids. We saw the werewolf thinking about her kids and her family, and there was a bit where you see the grandmother capturing them, and that's when she remembers it. But we also saw a weird, I think it was a few episodes ago, when you saw the werewolf on the floor. The grandmother was obviously being horrible and nasty. She had something metal in her head. Now, I'm going to say, bear with me. This is a wild thought here. What if the werewolf's memories are fabricated and she doesn't have any kids? Now, she's being driven to the idea of finding her kids just to work for the grandma, do the dirty deeds. You're more likely to do as you're told if you think you've got something very high at stake to lose. I don't know if this still links into Philomela. I just feel like there could be a link there, but I don't think there is. The Sargent family exists, so we know they're a thing anyway. Philomela could still have parents. I believe that they're probably out there somewhere. I don't think they're dead. I think something's happened and they're probably kidnapped or something along those lines. I've just got a vibe. I don't know. I'm just going to stick with this one. That's just my initial thoughts on that situation, because I don't really seem to have had any concrete evidence either way, so I'm still not writing that one out. Back to Veronica, just the whole I'm her master. When she says that and she doesn't say I'm a friend or anything, or whenever Chise says I care for her or I actually like her, at no point does Veronica say, oh yeah, me too. She never says that. She hasn't warmed up to her. She still only really sees her as a tool. She doesn't see her as a person. I know that's technically how you've been grown up, how you've been taught, how you've been raised, but you can still feel a certain way. I still feel like you could still feel a certain way. You can still do it because it's your obligation, but still be nice or something. Let's change the topic to Jasmine and the twin situation, which I thought was really sad. Yet again, we get some more information on what it's like to be brought up in these families where people want you to inherit, or your bloodline is precious, that they want to keep it in the family type thing. It's a really sad one because in this one, it feels like one of the twins wants to just express their rebellious nature by cross-dressing. Then suddenly when the other twin was going more masculine, it felt in a way with that twin, I think it's Jasmine was trying to let her twin continue to be free. The main moral of this story seems to be everybody's got a cage, everybody is trapped. Jasmine is taking it upon herself to take on that masculine role for her family because she knows that's what the family want, be a bit more proper. She's doing it to allow her twin to continue to be comfortable, I think. I think she's almost doing it because she cares about her twin so much that she's like, okay, fine. I want you to be happy. I want you to be you in cross-dressing. And if my parents aren't okay with that, I'm going to make sure that you can still have that. I absolutely love the lighting in the mirror sequence when we've got Rion. You can see some dust particles floating up in the light shafts. This show is very well lit. I don't say it enough. I think I used to say it every single episode, but then I kind of stopped. I love lighting. I think lighting is absolutely amazing. The dust particles are a really nice effect. Isaac, we finally also know Isaac's name as well. So let's talk about Isaac too. Thank you for the person who put that in the comments. None of us seem to know what it was. I think 3 of us said we don't know the name. Isaac, we get to know his backstory. He's also got black hair, so we do get a little hint at what he looks like. It would seem he actually got burnt really badly, so that's why he feels the need to wear the hood. I like this sequence. I really like this sequence because he's very similar to Philomela, and she even kind of relates to him. Why are you still friends with somebody like that? He relates to her situation of not being enough or being quite trapped or not good enough. He's able to have a really quite honest conversation. So it's a nice conversation, and Philomela talking and actually appreciating him being on her side is quite nice. But the backstory of him and Rion is really interesting. You know, Rion at heart, he's a good person. He just doesn't use his head very much, speaks before he even thinks. I like him. He's a good guy, but he does bumble around and sometimes make a bad call. But it is sad because I think Isaac really likes Philomela, but she's just not reciprocating. Like Lucy, I don't think a lot of the girls in this situation are. He likes Philomela. Philomela said something which kind of upset him. I didn't really read it like he did. He seems to read it like she likes Rion. I didn't read it in that situation. I just thought, these two know each other. They've grown up together. And she said something like that and he's misread the situation. I thought the planetarium section was absolutely gorgeous. We do see some gorgeous locations this week. We get to explore the school fully. Looks absolutely lovely in different lights. There's a lot of really nice lighting going on. There was some red lights on the floor when we had Veronica and Chisei. Red being a sign of danger. That's why it still gave me that vibe that I don't trust Veronica still don't trust her. I know we've had a bit more clarity there. English in the B movie was hilarious. Normally I'd seen it, but it's a bad B movie. It's supposed to be bad. It's just exactly how you'd imagine a very bad B movie to be. Happy Halloween, the twist at the end with Jasmine. I liked it. I thought it was a very nice situation because we didn't really zoom in on her or in any of the scenes or anything because it wasn't important. So she's still actually in bed. That she just used this, I think it was a spirit, to mimic her and then have that nice spooky twist at the end because everyone's like, oh my god, it wasn't actually her. That was a really nice twist, a nice spooky episode in general. There's a nice view of Elias with some nice lighting despite the fact it's bad news. I want to know what the doctor's got to say. I think it's the case that Jasmine's actually being cursed by the book and is the next victim. That's probably most likely what's going to be said. At the end where the werewolf was glitching, as I said, I feel like something is wrong here. That glitching memory to me would maybe make me think that those are fake memories, that werewolf hasn't got any kids. Maybe it is Philomela's parents and they've been tormented so much they've been turned into werewolves. Watch this space as I try and make this argument work. I just don't know where I'm going with it just yet. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really can't wait to actually hear your spooky stories. Make it something local, make it something near you, something localized. I don't know, if you're in America, give me an American spooky story from your town or something. You don't have to dox yourself. I'm not actually going to go and look for anybody. I want to hear some spooky stories from across the world. And it will also let me know what countries everybody's watching in, which I think is fun. Thank you guys so much. Have a happy Halloween and I will see you guys again for another video. Bye bye guys.